Can I turn this on? Welcome to the Casual Adventure Notes podcast, the Can podcast, lazy, easy listening about little life's adventures
And lessons.
and lessons. I'm Doz.
And I'm Debbie.
I actually just got a Kindle, so instead of reading from a physical book, I downloaded another 101 thing, but it's actually riddles this time. I literally got it yesterday, so I'm still learning how to actually use it, but let me open. And then if I tap and I click about, I can tell you about this palette cleanser. So the palette cleanser is another 101 book, but it's not by the same series. It's called 101 Riddles for Kids, and it's by Carl G. Winter. And I know you heard for kids and you're looking at us and you're like, you are not children, but I think riddles are challenging regardless of levels. But it is 101. So Debbie, would you like to pick a number between 1 and 101? We're going to try to figure out the riddles together because it actually doesn't have the answer in front of me, so I have to click it to figure it out. To get it.
Okay. Well, it'll be quite embarrassing if we don't figure it out. Let's go 18.
All right, 18. So I'm tapping the Kindle so I can get to number 18 because I don't know how to do this.
Surely there's a more efficient way.
Well, thank God you picked 18 because at least it's earlier. All right, so riddle number 18. There is a house that one enters blinds and leaves seeing. Which is it? I'll say that again. There is a house that one enters blind and leaves seeing.
There's a house that you enter blind and then you leave seeing.
No.
Optometrist. I'm assuming it has the houses in the answer, like glass house or sea house or
nothing comes to mind for me.
the house, eye house. I mean, logically, it's like an eye surgeon or something because that makes sense. Will you see?
Yeah.
Read it again one more time. Sorry.
There is a house that one enters blinds and leaves seeing.
Enters blinds. With
Blind without an S.
Blind. And you come out seeing. Maybe it's like doesn't mean like actual blindness, and it's like another meaning for blind. And see. Blind see. Oh my God. God, I'm assuming there's a time limit. I don't know. I was gonna say logically it was like an optometrist, but it's like glass house, sea house, I don't know. Something with have the answer house in it.
The answer is the school, but I don't get it.
What? Are you sure that's the right number?
Yeah, number 18, the school.
The school. Blind school.
There is a house.
Sea school.
There is a house that one enters blind and leaves seeing. I guess it could be a metaphor for learning.
That's a bit too deep for a kid's riddle, though.
Okay, it was a bad riddle.
I'm assuming it doesn't have an explanation of what the answer is.
It's supposed to be a really chilled book. Anyways, I wanted to try something new. I don't know if I like it, but
it's so funny. Do you think about like, back in the day when you get those like those sort of maths and like English books from like any bookshop, and then you have to like fill in the answers, but then the answers in the back would just be the answer. It didn't actually explain to you. So it's anyway, that's what it just reminded you of. Anyway.
Yeah, I've been getting into it because I've been playing all these like word games online to get better because I suck at trivia. So I wish I had more like, what's the word when you have like common random
general knowledge?
Yeah, I wish I had more general knowledge so that I could like go to trivia nights with friends. But I've been to trivia nights and I cannot contribute. So
I think you could probably contribute on like the pop culture side. Something about Taylor Swift or anime. And then I think that's like your niche.
I have very specific knowledge about very specific things and it's always quite high level, but whatever. Let's dive into our main course, which is another random thing that I only know very specific information about and very random as well. And it kind of started happening because I've been scrolling on the good old internet, and I've noticed that a lot of my influencers and a lot of like events and stuff have been sponsored by Red Bull again.
Red Bull as in the energy drink?
Red Bull is in the energy drink.
The one where the ad's like, it gives you wings or something?
Well, originally that was the model, but didn't they change it because it's like someone sued them because it didn't physically give them wing or something like that? Like there was that controversy.
Oh, I'm sure there was like I remember like seeing some microscopic disclaimer at the bottom where it said like probably like it does not give you wings. So surely, but even then, it feels like one of those like lawsuits where people are just trying to make a dime or a dollar, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. There was, so I don't have the full article in front of me, but the very like snapshot version of it is there was a proposed class action lawsuit alleging false advertising because it said that, even though I feel like people should have common sense.
I mean, if that's the case, then like everything's such false advertising. Like even when you like, example, see an ad for McDonald's, the burger in the ad never looks like the burger what you get.
I mean, that's literally advertising. Marketing advertising is literally like manipulating things to a certain way to make it appeasing to your desired target audience, right? Like I feel like, but I guess like unless you're conscious of that stuff or working in the industry, I guess to the everyday person, there might be a naiveness about brands and big corporations telling you the truth, maybe? I don't know. I'm just making assumptions. But I brought it up because I've been seeing it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like they're blowing it up. That's like weird. But then it made me remember all the Red Bull marketing that they've done in the past and like kind of an appreciation for everything they've done because they're known. I don't know if it would be received as well these days versus when it was apparent like years ago. But do you remember like Red Bull girls, like promo girls?
Yeah. Like they'd make appearances at like Formula One races and all that stuff, yeah. Or they were actually like legit mascots, not at just events promoting Red Bull, but they were like actual like not role models, but like mascots.
Sometimes they appeared at specific events. Sometimes they just appeared randomly as a pop-up thing. They were conventionally, what's the word when it's like objectively attractive females?
Yeah, they fit the stereotype of what?
Yeah. Is that objective or subjective?
As in objectifying someone or?
I don't know. I'm just scraping over that really quickly. So like a couple of years ago, like they would get like stereotypically attractive females with like a very gimmicky vehicle with the Red Bull can on top, and they would just appear at events and stuff like that. And that became a known thing. Like they were like, oh, like sexy girls with the vehicle giving out free Red Bull. Like that was one of their marketing campaigns. And then another big thing they used to do, and I still think they do today, they sponsor a lot of big like sporting events and like crazy thriller events, like things that require a lot of adventures.
Oh, yeah, like Daredevil sort of style, like if it's like some motorcycle jumping off some like a ramp or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I noticed that the content that they sponsor now that I am consuming online, it's always like interesting content. So it's not just like someone talking to a camera and going, thanks Red Bull for sponsoring this episode, blah, blah, blah. It's not like that. It's literally like a produced show or a produced piece of content, and then it's sponsored by them, and they do it in a creative way. So for example, there was this YouTuber I follow, and when he needs to do the sponsor read, like it's like a light outage thing, and he's like, oh, we better like open the can of Red Bull to turn the power back on. So it's like a whole like theatric thing as part of the promo rather than just like a standard script to read from. And I thought that was really cool. And then I'm just like, oh, and that made me think Red Bull to me in my head is cool. And it's funny because I don't drink Red Bull. I don't drink energy drinks in general because the caffeine hits me too hard. So there's nothing against like the brand or the taste or anything like that. I just personally cannot consume that much caffeine in one go. But I was like, oh, it's so interesting because they are one of those high caffeinated energy drinks that actually disrupted the market because before them, it was basically Coca-Cola dominating the market and Pepsi, if you want to argue that side of it.
Yeah. Wasn't there that other energy drink, V or something? V and then...
Oh, yeah, that blew up for a little bit. They were basically kind of very similar to Red Bull as well.
Their ad was like quite strange. It's like based around that insect, remember, that would like sip it and then like become like, extraordinary and like do all these like crazy things. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So then a bit of digging because it was kind of like amazing to me because I was like, oh, Red Bull don't do like traditional marketing that you think would just get them traction. I felt like they actually played the long game. And I just think like it's at the moment, it's like standing the test of time. And so I looked at what it's called and apparently like they're quite well known for doing experimental marketing and iterating a lot with what they do, being very specific focus on who their target demographic is or who they need to target, which I'm sure all companies and big brands do. And maybe I'm just their target demographic, so I am only like very exposed to their content at the moment. But I think it's so cool because they basically curate their advertising and marketing to be about experiences and like seeking out people to associate it with like adventures and thrill seeking and
well, it's very on brand with why people drink it is to get like an energy boost. But it's actually funny you say that because, like, the sort of the common sort of pitfall, or sometimes not pitfall, with a lot of companies when they particularly start like niche marketing is that to reach a wider audience, they do more like mass marketing appeal. And then sometimes it dilutes the brand and then, it loses its, uniqueness or, I guess the what makes it special, when you make it seem readily available. And I think that's the whole marketing scheme with a lot of luxury brands. Like they're not out there to appease everyone. It's around like that specific demographic, that specific cohort. And it's funny because for a drink, you kind of think, well, everyone can drink, and it's not like it's super expensive or anything, is it? But the fact that they've sort of kept true to their brand on specific marketing associated with like the thrill seeking and not doing, mass sort of production that I'm sure they actually produce a lot of drinks. But that's actually very interesting. I remember seeing like the owners, like I think when I was scrolling the like the billionaires, like richest people, I think it was actually, I didn't realize what the net value or worth of Red Bull was, but I saw like the name, which I don't even recognize. But then I saw how they have like the company or their own. It was like on like the top, definitely top like 50 or something, maybe top 100. But I think the owners appeared on that. So, obviously there's value in the brand, but then also generating a lot of money from sales too.
Yeah, you're talking about Forbes' real-time billionaires list.
Yeah.
That was actually what triggered the... excuse you. That was what triggered the follow-up, like me kind of looking a little bit deeper into like how they do their marketing because I didn't expect Red Bull to be up there either. And then from like digging a little bit deeper, I realized like they made their biggest sales last year. They sold the most cans last year. And it's just like kind of slowly going up. They've had dips and I think it's like worth acknowledging they failed a lot and they've like taken risks that didn't pay off. And they're willing to innovate and take the risk to do more, which I think is really like cool. I'm just telling the story because honestly, I just thought it was kind of inspiring and I just wanted to acknowledge like how cool they're doing.
Thing is like energy drinks, I mean, I'm not sure what the science behind it is, but it's not associated with health. Like it's not like your turmeric and ginger shot, health. It's not like as bad as cigarettes or anything like that. Well, maybe, who knows? But it's in an industry where you've got probably a lot of like people saying there's really no health benefits to it, and it's a complete non-necessity, really. So for them to have be like have the net worth and value they have and still be in the game is yeah, it's pretty
Impressive.
impressive. Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah. And then it made me like go into another tangent, which is another brand called Gentle Monster that's really been blowing up recently. They're probably more of a recent band, and their story is like a good adjacent version of like successful, innovative marketing, taking risks and it actually paying off after playing the long game if you really believe in your brand and you think it's something cool that you're doing. Gentle Monster came a little later. I think it was founded in the 2000s.
South Korean brand?
South Korean brand. So it was founded in 2011 by Han Kook Kim, which he might be a designer. I'm not sure actually what his background is, but I'll do a bit of digging afterwards and let you know. It is a South Korean started brand, and they will try and basically disrupt the sunglasses / eyewear industry, because did you know that the eyewear industry is actually owned by like, it's a monopoly by like some big group that owns all those brands. So
like Ray-Bans and well, I don't know too much about sunglasses besides Ray-Bans, but
I can't pronounce the actual company name.
It's probably like one of those like parent companies and they own like a whole bunch of brands.
Yeah.
But you don't know they all owned by essentially the one parent company or maybe it's actual one person. Yeah.
Yeah. No wonder you hear people say like, oh, you know, the richest people in the world are only like 1% of the population. Not a real stat, but like there's like a thing that's always thrown out there about that.
It's like LVMH, which owns like your Louis Vuitton. Actually, there's a whole bunch of Moët and so what's the champagne Moët Chandon? Pretty sure they own like a heap of brands, and I think they're actually the top, the like the number one.
Yeah,
like
they're in the billionaire list.
Like they're the number one on the Forbes list. What's his name? Bernard Arnault.
I actually have that open. Let me see if I can pull it up very quickly. Oh, nope. I clicked out of it. Oh, yeah. Bernard Arnault and family.
Yeah. That's the LVMH, which is all the luxury brands sit under. Yeah. I don't know if I'm not sure whether it's publicly listed, but I'm pretty sure maybe it's privately owned because I know like a lot of his kids are like all in heads because they own like, I think they own Tiffany & Co. as well. And then also Dior. Yeah. And they actually for a while owned the Australian boot, R.M. Williams.
Did they?
Yeah, they bought it, and then I think they ended up selling it. But I'm pretty sure they made like a massive profit. But yeah, they're kind of like the equivalent of Disney. This have the money buying to diversify and own as much, and well, that's how I guess that sort of generational massive wealth created by buying assets. Yeah.
I know. It's kind of crazy, actually. They're kind of bullies because they just buy all the small guys so that they remain on top. I mean, that's one way to do business. His net, or like Bernard Arnault and family are, at this point of recording, their net worth is 214.1 billion.
That's crazy.
Insane. The person that's second on the list at the moment is Jeff Bezos.
The Amazon. Yeah.
But
he would have been like number one until he had to split his fortune with his wife, well, ex-wife now. He would have been like number one then, because he would have given half of it away. At the end.
I don't know if I don't follow his personal life. I'm not that interested, to be honest.
Well, you're supporting him with the Kindles. Is Kindle Amazon?
I like Amazon as a product and a lot of stuff they offer. I think it's very cool. It makes, they did well with tech, but yeah, him as a person don't care about. But circling back to the glasses stuff. So the parent company, whatever you want to call it, they're called Luxottica. I don't know if I pronounced that.
What brands do they own?
So they own major eyewear brands such as Ray-Ban, Oakley, Perso, and Vogue. And they have like all the major retail chains that sell glasses, such as like Sunglass Hut, LensCrafter, and all that stuff. And then Gentle Monster I think they originally wanted to be part of it, but they didn't stand out as a brand amongst all these other brands to kind of be in there. they thought like their glasses were really cool and they're really like unique design and they weren't the norm. And what made them famous and kind of like disrupted the market was they decided to actually make a physical store experience. So their whole thing was they attracted people to their brand by designing their physical stores as essentially like a crazy artsy exhibition where you go just to look. And then the eyewear is just placed around the place very subtly. It's such a second thought. But then what happens over time is people started associating Gentle Monster as something cool, edgy, artsy.
Very avant-garde.
Yeah, exactly. So as a result, when you wear Gentle Monster eyewear, you are also inherently cool, which is true because I didn't know about the physical store. So that's how they built up their reputation. And the reason I know them is because they have successfully been expanding globally. And I remember, I think a few people, like I didn't even know what Gentle Monster was. Like I didn't realize it was eyewear. But then when I heard the brand Gentle Monster, I automatically associated to it being like cool. I was like, I think I know that brand. Like it's supposed to be a cool brand and I have no idea where it started.
Even the name is like cool, Gentle Monster. Like, if someone heard and they didn't know about sunglasses and you have no clue what they would sell, you kind of think, oh, maybe it's like a clothing brand. Maybe they'll eventually branch out to that. But it's actually funny because when you talk about like Sunglass Hut and them having the monopoly, you kind of walk in the store and it's a bit overwhelming where there's so many brands. It's really hard for those individual brands to particularly stand out. And so it's such a clever but obviously risky approach to open your own standalone store because it obviously involves a bit more cost to establish that and whatnot.
I'm just quickly looking up the founder. It's pretty cute. I don't know if his marketing and PR team are working overtime, but the first thing that pops up is Hankook Kim of Gentle Monster, CEO of the future. And then the little blurb reads, Kim is CEO with empathy and compassion that you don't find that with many of the top guns. Furthermore, the type of genuine sincerity is very hard to fake. That's like solid PR.
Is that him?
Yeah. So on screen, there's like a Asian male, short hair, dark glasses.
He kind of looks kind of very, like if he walked across, like if you probably walked past him, you probably wouldn't even like think twice that he's like the owner of what is such a very cool, progressive brand.
Yeah, very normal looking is probably the best word.
Yeah.
I think there was some association with eyewear, but I can't be bothered reading that and absorbing it that quickly. But yeah, I thought they was such an inspirational story about how like it's okay to take risks in life because sometimes it pays off, but I guess it's okay to fail fast along the way as long as the end product or your objective or your brand, like you're very clear about what it is.
It's a bit of like sticking, I think when you start thinking about a business, it's really important to have those core values. And I think, how many people sort of ever sort of read that in, a company's front page? But those things have to be established and then you really need to make sure you keep to them because it's always easy, when, pressures with, profits, all this stuff come to mind and then you deviate from that. And so, yeah, it's similar to your Red Bull example, it just shows that it does pay off when you sort of stick to your instincts and your original vision because, it can lead to like great success.
The other left field brand or company that I wanted to know about, which is I couldn't find anything on, is Subway. So
the sandwich place.
The sandwich place, the American sandwich place. Because back to back this week, I listened to two very separate things. I was listening to the story about their controversy back in the mid 2000s. Their old
the guy that was doing the weight loss stuff.
Yeah. What's it like? They made
Jerry.
him. Yeah, Jared. Yeah, whatever.
Jerry or
Jared? I don't
I
care.
can't remember.
He's a disgusting human being that doesn't deserve good things. Anyways, like he's a controversy, and I was like, whoa, that would have like hurt their brand. Like, I'm so surprised they're still around, if I'm honest. And then what made me go, oh, they're still around is because I go into holes of content that I like to watch. So like I think in previous episodes I was talking about anime, probably because I was in my anime hole where I was watching a bunch of anime. Recently I've gone back into my K-drama hole. So I'm watching a lot of K-dramas. And what I notice is Subway is a common sponsor or thing of these dramas because like it's so random. It's like the most dramatic Korean scenes where, you know, like two friends are angry at each other or like, you know, someone just got hit by a van or whatever. And then like cuts to someone going to Subway to grab a sandwich and sitting across each other and dramatically eating a sandwich or something like that. Or at the end credits, like sponsored by Subway or whatever. And I was like, why is Subway in so many K-dramas at the moment? And then to back it up, I am acquainted with a few Koreans people who live in South Korea and they're here at the moment visiting. And then they're like, oh yeah, let's go to Subway for lunch. Like not to try it because it's new, but just because they're like, Subway is good. Although they did say that they prefer the Subway in Korea. And then I read up later that Subway does localize like their sandwich and stuff depending on where they operate, which makes a lot of sense, right? But I was like, oh, they made a comeback. And I have no idea how. So I tried to dig it up. But there was nothing profound or dramatic that they did. I think they just slowly try to rebrand themselves. They try to distance themselves from the negative press by like physically rebranding as well. Like they've changed their logo up to modernize plus move away from that. And I honestly think they just played the long game.
I think that whole thing with using sort of K-dramas or shows, it's a bit of like subliminal advertising. So maybe that's, and then Korean shows and just Korean culture is so popular at the moment. They've just made a good, like you said, a risk in being like, for an American, you know, not fast food, but American restaurant to be like, all right, let's like pay X money so we get featured in the K-dramas, etc. And then now it's sort of, you know, the risk is eventuated to, well, was a risk worth taking?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe they actually, so I guess they're an example of traditional marketing working because I think they realized that there was an opportunity in a lot of Asian countries because Asian countries, the other trend I noticed is in recent years, like places like South Korea and Japan and stuff like that, they started adopting like Western brands.
Yeah. Isn't it like in Japan, like there's this whole thing around like KFC and Christmas time. And it's like, I don't, like in Australia, like I didn't really associate, when we want KFC, we just get KFC, but it's apparently like a special treat and you get KFC during that time. And then like, oh, didn't really think about it that way. Because particularly in Japan, because like, I mean, they do good fried chicken. Like their karaage is like so good. So why KFC? But I'm assuming that's a marketing thing again. That's how it started. Some TV ad with a family, and then that became like a bit of nostalgia, and now it's just a tradition now.
Yeah, marketing works, guys.
Yeah.
Two of my fun facts that I like to throw around in conversations at a party is to do with marketing. No, two. The first one is diamonds aren't that valuable, but because of marketing and their association to like propose with, that is why diamond as a thing is
the value of the diamond.
The value of the diamond is so high. It's because of marketing. That's it.
Yeah, that's the same as like, I guess you can say Coca-Cola as well. Because there's so many other brands that produce a cola drink, but the brand of Coca-Cola is on their, you know, going to accounting speak, on their balance sheet, is their most valuable asset. Not the Coca-Cola formula, not the, you know, the sales, it's the brand itself.
Yeah, I think it's important. And then the other fun fact is, I probably need to fact check this because I think people have actually argued me on this, but I felt like I have read it before more than once. It's that breakfast isn't a real meal. So breakfast, you know how like people say traditionally you eat breakfast, lunch and dinner, and there's certain cuisines that you associate with them.
Yeah.
But they say breakfast was a marketing thing. I think the origin was like to market cereal as a breakfast food.
It's the same with like Valentine's Day, yeah. Like, that's not really even a registered public holiday, but yeah, Hallmark, I'm assuming, was behind the whole Valentine's Day and give your lover, a card with your feelings, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we go back to Subway though? Because I think the one thing I wish they promoted more was their cookie. Because their cookies are so delicious. The white chocolate chip macadamia one. And they're like normally like they have like those deals where it's like $1, which I'm not sure what the standard pricing for cookies, but their cookies are so delicious. And it's I don't know. I feel like that's like their that should be like their next sort of focus on marketing. The cookie, like making the cookie the it thing. In the Korean dramas, do they ever eat cookies? Do they even have cookies in Korea in Subway?
I don't know.
Was it more about the sandwiches, really?
Well, they're more known for their sandwiches.
But I sometimes go to Subway to get just the cookies, and it's actually sometimes really annoying because sometimes I have to line up with everyone else that just wants a sandwich, and I'm like, I just want to get like 5 cookies, and you have to line up with everyone else. But I think I learned, you can actually cut the queue just ordering cookies, but I feel bad when I'm doing that. So I line up with everyone else.
It's good that you're nice. I think it's good that you're nice. There's this thing called the shopping cart theory where it says a lot about a person, what you do with a shopping cart after you use it. There are people who will find the trolley bay to return the trolley, and there are people who just leave it. It's not that much effort to go find a trolley bay to return the trolley, but yet a lot of people do not. And then that they say that that's a really good like indicator of what a person might be like or what their behavioral traits might be.
Yeah, it's like the Good Samaritan test, but with trolleys these days, because now most like places like force you like put $1 or $2. So, and like most times like people return it just to get their $1 or $2 back. So obviously the majority of people probably just like chuck it everywhere. That's why they've had to introduce this return policy thing.
I mean, that's the point, right? It's such low effort. So $1, $2, it's worth doing.
Yeah. I guess if it was like 10 cents, if I couldn't find anything nearby, I might be like considering just dumping it. I'm sure I've done that before. So I did not pass the Good Samaritan test back then.
I pass. I always try to find a trolley tray. The other thing I really like doing is if I'm eating in a food court, I like to pack. Like I like to eat clean and I like to pack my food rubbish and throw it out.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing because a lot of people that do leave their stuff have always sort of justified as like, oh, you're doing someone else's job. And so, if we all do it, then they might not have a job at the end. But, I don't know whether that's just to make them feel better about it or
they're being delulu about it. I'll just tell you something. Someone is not primarily employed to look after 3 specific tables and wipe it down clean and clear it every time someone finishes cleaning. They're normally when you're employed for a job and there's like an exchange of service, you generally have more than one task that you have to do. And generally, if people around the world can do things that will help with like mundane or little things, it means that the person's role can be better invested in something else.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I never saw it that way.
Yeah, it's like completely like tangent, but also I think semi-related. It's like how people are so scared of technology, with the whole like AI rising and stuff like that. Yeah. It's just like, yeah, it is scary. I think technology is moving too fast for humans to keep up to regulate it. Like I think that is like a problem that needs to be addressed long term. But I think what people tend to neglect is the opportunities that can come with it, which is to actually make you more efficient and optimize, and for you to then save time by giving AI mundane tasks that doesn't really require like a human touch to it, so that you can reinvest your time into doing something that is going to create more value, and as a result that also might turn into something more.
Yeah, I actually never saw it that way. I guess it's like you think about like 20 and 30 years ago, particularly with manufacturing, which is a very particular function where you're literally just moving something from left to right, or buttoning something up. But now, like most days, like I think like Japan probably started the most around like robots and like just having like an arm do that function, where it's obviously it hasn't meant job losses, but then you're right, it means that people would then look to upskill, and maybe they do something that's more less labor intensive. So it means that you're not having to like break your back literally at the job, and you're doing something that's a bit more easygoing, body wise.
I agree. I think obviously it's sad when people have worked in a manufacturing company or whatever loses their jobs after 20 years. But there is a bigger picture to it, right? And I think if the big corporate giants are responsible, they would
redeploy them in some other area, upskill them so they can do some other role and function.
Everyone can always do better, human side. There is always something to do. Even if it feels negative at first, there is always more that someone can do for the human side if you just take a moment. Anyways, bit of a dark note. So let's end with our dessert of the week. So desserts is a gratitude of the week or appreciation, something we want to be thankful for, who we want to be thankful for, that might be relevant to something happening at the moment or that we just experienced this week.
So I think, I don't know whether it was last episode, or even the one beforehand, but I was talking about like me wanting to get like fried chicken to eat. And so I actually did that on the weekend. Found like a new place that was close by. It was like one of those mum-dad style restaurants. It was literally actually just the dad in there taking the orders, making all the food. I'm surprised he even got it out like in a reasonable time. But he discovered that a new sort of local joint that wasn't, your big mainstream companies like KFC, although I do love KFC and Red Rooster. But yeah, it was a really good find, and definitely going back. The chicken was so moist, crispy, kind of salivating now I think about it. But yeah, that was my highlight.
We love supporting small businesses. I am thankful I had it in my head about 30 seconds ago and now I completely forgot it, but I remember now. So I've been pretty sick and I feel very good today. And I've never been so grateful for like not having a sore throat and being able to breathe. Do not take that for granted because it sucks when you're sick and you can't breathe and you just feel congested and you get exhausted so easily from just like walking up a couple of steps.
Yeah, it's the worst, like not being able to sleep peacefully and having like, a block sinus or something.
Exactly. And then let's wrap things up with meal prep. So any kind of goals or plans that we have coming up that we want to just acknowledge and call out, things that we're excited for, things that we are doing, just worth noting. Yeah. What do I have plans this week? I am doing my annual health checks and I have been making a conscious effort to keep my iron levels up because it used to be low from like previous annual health tests. Not dramatically, but is low. So I've been trying to incorporate more iron into my like general diet and meal rotation. So hopefully he goes up.
The iron's like red meat, essentially.
Yeah. And some veggies, but you have to consume a lot more vegetables to get that level of iron.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
In terms of like goals for this week. I am hoping to actually clean up the house. It's actually a bit filthy at the moment because I've been so busy at work, so I've neglected that. So I'm hoping to do that and not see any giant furballs flying around. That's kind of gross, but that's what happens when you have pets and whatnot. But yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. We appreciate you and we thank you. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Catch you later. Bye.